At the start of the story, we see a family on their Christmas vacation in Thailand. This family includes Henry and his wife Maria, along with their three sons, Simon, Thomas, and Lucas. They were staying in a five-star resort in a Thai city, which offered a beautiful view of the ocean. 2 days pass, and on this beach, Henry gives everyone Christmas gifts. Today, the father and sons were playing in the pool, while Maria sat nearby, reading a book. Suddenly, the wind blows and a page from her book flies away, sticking to a nearby glass. As Maria goes to retrieve the page, she feels an earthquake. Birds fly into the air, and a massive ocean wave seen in the distance breaks trees as it moves forward. Before anyone could react, a terrifying tsunami engulfs them. Henry was with his two sons, Thomas and Simon. While Lucas and Maria were separated, everyone became a victim of this disaster. In the very next moment, we see Maria holding on to a tree. Before continuing with the video, I kindly request all of you to subscribe to the channel while watching the video. Your single subscription gives me a lot of motivation. As the tsunami swept away everything in its path, she heard Lucas's voice. He was being carried away by the tsunami and called out to his mother upon seeing her. Without thinking, Maria moved towards her son in the strong current, where the water was carrying along who knows what, and in the process, she got injured. They both tried to hold on to each other with the help of a mattress, but the speed of the water didn't allow it. Maria managed to slow herself down somehow, but Lucas was carried further away. Then we see another wave coming towards him, and Lucas also gets caught in it. Because so much was being swept away in the tsunami, things started hitting Lucas, causing him injuries. But he still somehow managed to survive it all. Just then, he also saw his mother, who was quite injured and stopped near a pile of debris. They moved towards each other, and this time Maria held on to her son. After that, they took shelter against a tree, waiting for the water to stop. As soon as the water stopped, we see them in a field, from where they were moving forward because the water was shallow in that direction. Suddenly, Lucas notices his mother's leg, which was severely injured from all this, and there was a lot of bleeding. He carries his mother to a dry place where the tsunami water had receded. Now they just had to climb a tree and wait for help because no one would be able to see them from below. But Maria hears a child's voice crying for help, and she wants to help him. However, Lucas tells her not to because at this time, they both also needed help. Maria then says that it could be the voice of her younger brothers. But Lucas had assumed that his brothers and father had died in this tsunami. Still, at his mother's insistence, they start following that voice, where they find a small child who introduces himself as William. They take him along and move forward. Lucas and William easily climb the tree, but Maria can't because of the injury in her leg. So Lucas helps his mother and they all climb the tree. In a little while, villagers arrive who were looking for survivors, and they take them to the village. Here, seeing Maria's wound, the villagers start taking her to the hospital, where Lucas also goes with her. Maria was worried about William, but Lucas didn't know where William was. On the way, we see the people who survived this tsunami. Soon they reach the hospital, but due to this disaster, the hospital was very crowded, and there were injured people everywhere. Here, Maria's condition starts to worsen, and she begins to shiver. She tells Lucas to find antibiotics because she was also a doctor, but Lucas doesn't understand anything here. Just then, a doctor comes and gives Maria an injection, and her wounds are also cleaned. After this, she is laid on a bed. Here Maria sees a girl and tells Lucas to turn her to the left side, where the girl starts vomiting blood. In all this, Maria's condition also worsens, and she also starts vomiting the same way. A little later, a man comes there looking for his family, calling out their names. Seeing this, Maria tells Lucas to go out and help people. Then, at Maria's request, he goes to help people. Here he first meets a man who was looking for his son, who was lost somewhere in this tsunami. Lucas remembers the boy's name and goes throughout the hospital calling out his name. In the meantime, he meets many other people who were looking for their child or family member, so he writes everyone's name on a paper. Finally, with his effort, he finds the boy whose father he met first, and he goes to call the boy's father. Seeing the love between these two father and son makes him very happy. But at the same time, he also felt the sadness of losing his own father. After that, he rushes to go to his mother, but when he reaches the ward where Maria was kept, he sees her bed empty, where someone else was now being laid. Lucas gets very scared seeing all this and starts making noise. Just then a nurse comes to whom he explains that his mother was here, but now she is not. The nurse checks the file of the previous patient on that bed and tells Lucas to come with her. She takes him to a children's ward where there were other children like Lucas, whose parents were nowhere to be found. The nurse asks Lucas about any family member they can contact. He says that he has a grandfather, but he doesn't remember his number. He tells the nurse his name in English to write on the speaker and then leaves. All these things scare him a lot because he started to feel that he was perhaps the only survivor in his family. And now he had lost his mother too. On the other side, we see Henry, who is looking for his wife and son Lucas. He shouts their names and searches for them everywhere. Evening was also falling, so he returns to the resort room where the whole family had stayed. There was a hole in the room's roof, through which he wanted to go up. However, the screws broke, and he fell down. He sees a man there who knew Henry, and then he sends his two sons. Actually, Henry had saved his children in this tsunami, but Lucas and Maria had been separated from them. Now it was getting dark, so these people had to evacuate the place because the rescue team had arrived. But Henry didn't want to leave until he found his wife and son. So he sends Thomas and Simon with a group so that they can reach the safe spot, and he would also go there later. However, Simon was quite young and didn't want to be separated from his father. After they leave, Henry again starts calling out Lucas's name in the dark, but this time he falls somewhere in the debris, getting quite injured. He somehow gets up from there and reaches the road, where a car stops in front of him. Now he was quite injured and his blood was flowing, due to which the people in the car take him to a medical facility. Here he meets a man named Carl, who was telling everyone that his family was lost somewhere in this tsunami and he couldn't find them. He says, "I have a phone whose battery I have saved so that my family can contact me." Henry asks for that phone because he wanted to call his father. He starts crying a lot while talking to his father and tells them that he will find Lucas and Maria no matter what. After the call ends, Carl tells Henry that he will also go with him to find his family, hoping they might find both their families together. Meanwhile, the nurse tells Lucas that his mother needs surgery, which is why she was taken from there. But by mistake, the staff put someone else's file there, which caused a long delay in finding Maria. However, she also tells him that his mother's surgery has not happened yet because she has lost a lot of blood, and without surgery, her chances of survival are quite low. On the other hand, we see Carl and Henry, who are trying to find their families everywhere. They didn't leave any dead body unchecked, nor any facility. They even went to all the medical camps and hospitals in this city, looking for their families. In the meantime, Henry sees the woman with whom he had sent Simon and Thomas. The woman tells him that someone has taken his children. This meant Henry had now lost Simon and Thomas too. But here, the woman actually meant the rescue team that was saving children. Meanwhile, Maria's condition was getting worse, so she tells Lucas to bring water. Henry and Carl also reach the hospital where Maria and Lucas were. This was probably the last hospital, so Henry goes alone because Carl had lost hope. Here, on the ground floor, Lucas was nearby, but they couldn't see each other. Henry also reaches Maria's bed, but he can't see Maria. Outside, a car full of children stops in which Simon and Thomas were present. Henry also starts to lose hope and begins to leave from here. But Lucas recognizes him from a distance by seeing his legs and runs after him, shouting, "Dad, Dad!" But Henry leaves the hospital. There was such a huge crowd here that it was impossible for anyone to find anyone else. Lucas passes by his brothers while looking for his father. He doesn't see his father anywhere, at which point he gets frustrated and shouts his father's name with all his might. Simon and Thomas hear this voice and run towards their brother, shouting, "Lucas, Lucas." Here, the scene of these brothers reuniting was quite emotional. Then Lucas sees his father coming towards them because he had heard Lucas's shouts. And then, in a way, this family gets reunited. Meanwhile, Carl tells the car driver that they should leave because there is no need to wait for Henry. Lucas tells Henry that his mother is also here, after which they meet Maria. Seeing her family together, Maria feels that perhaps this is the last time she is seeing her loved ones. Henry tells her that she is still alive. She says, "My condition has worsened a lot and I might die, so please take care of our children." Henry promises her that nothing will happen to her and that they both will take care of their children together. Just then, the nurse comes because Maria had to be taken for surgery. after which Henry and his children sit nearby and pray, and Maria begins to be anesthetized. In all this, Maria remembers the time when the tsunami came and she was drowning in the water. Lucas also falls asleep for a while, but when his eyes open, he sees Henry, where Henry tells him that his mother's surgery has been done and she is now better. Here they also meet a man who came from their insurance company, and he was taking this family to Singapore where they would receive better treatment. After that, they all get on the plane. Here, Lucas tells his mother that the child they saved has found his family, and he also promises that from today onwards, he will never leave his mother alone. From here, the flight takes off, and with that, this wonderful movie ends. I hope you liked this story. Don't forget to like the video and comment below. See you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.